G-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome to Democratic Republic, where we cover the real news that matters to we the people. Biden's so-called vaccine mandate that jeopardizes millions of jobs doesn't exist. It's all a mirage. And basically, it's not in any type of writing or anything like that. So it basically leaves it wide open to be sued and win. So we know that Southwest is actually suing. Southwest Airlines Union are suing, and firefighters in New York, they're suing also. And since it's not actually anything in writing, more than likely they're going to win with these mandates unless they have some type of tyrannical judge or something like that. But let's check out this article from Gateway Pundit. Americans against COVID jab are panicking as tyrannical Biden regime demands employers with 100 or more employees threaten their workers with taking away their ability to pay their mortgage or put food on their table unless they submit to the jab. 100% Fed Up reports there's only one problem with the Biden regime's so-called mandate. It's nothing more than a press release delivered by a blustering senile figurehead bolstered by the Democrats' party's dishonest mainstream media. So basically it's just Biden by decree. It's not even written down. It's not even written down anywhere. It's just basically him coming on TV saying that there's a mandate for 100 for employers with 100 or more workers. The article goes on to say there is no official position on employers firing workers over refusal to get the COVID jab. Congress hasn't voted on the mandate. Biden hasn't signed any executive order demanding the hardworking Americans be fired if they resist the jab. Yet it is pretty odd that there's no executive order. There's nothing in writing whatsoever. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted about the scam, calling Biden a dictator and reminding everyone that there is no federal law demanding the vaccines. I repeat, there is no federal law demanding the vaccine, she wrote. We never voted on it because it doesn't exist, she added. There is also no rule under OSHA that allows for companies to be fined for not demanding vaccines. And that's a big one right there because we were told that OSHA was going to be implementing this stuff. But according to Marjorie Greene, there is no rule under OSHA that allows for this because they know it's illegal. Scientist and author James Lyons Wheeler tweeted about the OSHA final rule. He said, word to the wise, the OSHA final rule has not been entered in the Federal Register. If you are an employer and you are enforcing vaccines or test mandates, you're wide open for to lawsuits for damages, lost wages, and psychological distress. It's a guidance, meaning it's non-binding. So that's a fair point right there. It's a guidance, it's non-binding. It's really nothing in writing. There's no rule. There's no law really written down. So really, if your job fire you and you sue, you have a great chance of winning. And all it's going to take is one. I don't know if the firefighter who's going to be before the court first is going to be the firefighters union or the union for Southwest. But it's going to be interesting to see how this play out in the courts. But Joy Pullman of the Federalist wrote about the scam on October 7th. Said, yes, we've heard all about Joe Biden's alleged vaccine mandate for private companies employing 100 or more people. It was all over the news even before he announced it on September 9th. His announcement has jeopardized the employment of millions of Americans and increased worker shortages in critical domains such as healthcare, which makes absolutely no sense. We're supposed to be fighting a pandemic, supposedly. And it's so bad. You would think the main people you want there are the people on the front lines, like healthcare workers. And these are some of the main people that's going to be losing their jobs by this evil tyrannical dictator. But the article goes on to say that there's only one problem. It's a mirage. Biden's so-called vaccine mandate doesn't exist, at least not yet. So far, all we have is a press conference and other such made for media huff puffing. No such rule, even claiming to be legally binding, has been issued. That's why nearly 2 dozen Republican attorneys general who have publicly voiced their opposition to the clearly unconstitutional and illegal mandate haven't yet filed suit against it. The office of the Indiana Attorney General confirmed to me there is no mandate to haul into court, and that may be part of the plan. So maybe that makes sense. Maybe they're doing it on purpose because if there's no mandate, you can't sue the government. It's basically going to be on the employers that's going to have to pay out when they lose this in court, not the federal government, because they didn't explicitly write down they didn't put down any put anything in writing pertaining to this mandate. According to several sources so far, it appears no such mandate has been sent to the White House's Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs yet for approval. The White House, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, and the Department of Labor haven't released any official guidance for the alleged mandate. There is no executive order. There's nothing but press statements. That's true. Despite what you may have been falsely led to believe by the media fantasy projection machine, press statements have exactly zero legal authority. That's true. Quote, there is nothing there yet that gives employers any mandate. Stephanie McFarland, spokeswoman for the Indiana Occupational Safety and Health Administration, told me October 6th. The president made an announcement on this asking OSHA to do it, but we've not yet seen anything come from it yet, she said. To impose the public perception of a mandate, the Biden administration is following an unusual rulemaking process it also employed earlier this year called an Emergency Temporary Standard, ETS. The spring ETS rule took nearly 6 months to issue. Meanwhile, companies are telling reporters their vaccine mandates will have at the latest December deadline. For those who can't calendar, that's 4 months after Biden's non-existent mandate was proclaimed. According to OSHA, an ETS takes up to 6 months to go into effect after the initial mandate is issued in the Federal Register, which again for the proclaimed 100 employee mandate hasn't happened yet. So all this is just made up stuff. The National Law Review reports on September 9th, 2021, U.S. President Joe Biden announced a multi-pronged plan to increase the number of Americans who are vaccinated for COVID-19. In the plan titled Path Out of the Pandemic, President Biden COVID-19 Action Plan, the Biden administration provides for multiple regulatory and executive orders based on means to encourage or require vaccination in various workplace settings. Specifically, some form of vaccine mandate will apply for employers with 100 or more employees. For most centers, for Medicare and Medicaid, CMS regulated workplace settings, and for some federal contractors, as well as all federal executive branch workers. OSHA will develop a rule known as an Emergency Temporary Standard, or ETS, that will require all employees with at least 100 employees to ensure that each member of the workforce is either fully vaccinated or, for those who are not fully vaccinated, require such workers to produce a negative COVID-19 result on at least a weekly basis before coming to work. As announced, it appears that the impending OSHA ETS will permit employers of 100 or more employees to present an option to all workers to either vaccinate or test. Workers would be able to select either option. Employers should note that in June 2021, OSHA issued a different ETS imposing various COVID-related requirements on solely healthcare industry employers. The anticipated ETS requiring vaccination or testing has not yet been released as of the time of this article. Employers should exercise caution when researching requirement under OSHA ETS to avoid referencing inapplicable regulations. So this states right here, be careful before you implement this, because you will be held liable, because there is actually no government law, no government rule, no government regulation that says that actually state you need to fire these employees. So it's all puff and smoke. It's all fake. And these companies that's implementing this is going to end up getting sued and losing, because there's no actual law pertaining to this mandate. And the last part of this article goes on to say that, so if there is no law or executive order, why are workers being threatened? Have small businesses in America with 100 or more workers been duped into forcing their employees to accept a COVID jab against their will? It is. They have been duped, because most of these small businesses, they got a lot going on. They don't have time to go in and look into these OSHA regulations, supposedly non-existent OSHA regulations. They don't have the time to go into this, so they just gonna go off of what they hear on TV. The article goes on to say, are America's corporations so ignorant that they didn't even question the validity of the so-called mandate press release? Of course not. They trust the government for some reason. Or are American corporations so tied to the federal funding from the same hard-working taxpayer they're threatening that they are simply going along with the Biden scam to keep COVID relief money flowing into their coffers? I think some might be doing that also. But this is very interesting. Let me know what you think. Do you think this you think this is just all puff and smoke? You think really they don't have the authority to push this vaccine mandate? Let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.